Okay, never mind. It's all good. It's all good. I got an error thrown that I ran out of hard disk space, which didn't make a lot of sense to me because there's about 5 terabytes left on it. But I think it just got disconnected. I think we're fine. I think we lost about 5 seconds on the VOD, but the VOD on Twitch should still be fine. Well, some folks do ASMR rambles, yes. My good friend Glitchica, she rambles while she does ASMR, and that is how she does it. And I attend her streams because, again, she is my friend, and I think she's quite good as a streamer. I think she's a very skilled streamer. So I've been trying to take notes on that. I've been trying to pay attention and take notes to that and behave how she does is what I'm trying to take a note from. But obviously there are differences between me and her. We have different methods of performing. We have different people who want different things. I have a different audience than hers, unsurprisingly. And of course, unlike her, I cannot speak Spanish. So that definitely does put a limitation on one of those fun things to do. As I was talking about yesterday, the Americans tend to rather like Spanish accents and the sound of the Spanish language as a rule. That's very typical. And so I found that very fun to learn from all of you yesterday that is not considered apparently particularly public knowledge. I thought that was something that was well known about my people, about Los Gringos. That we have an affection for that. I thought that was a very normal thing for people to know, but apparently it was news to quite a few of you folks from Spanish-speaking countries. So I hope that you use that knowledge, mostly for ill. I'm going to suggest using it for evil. That'd be my suggestion. Or at least for some sort of personal gain. Please don't scam little old ladies, that's not very nice. But if you wanted to use it to scam rich people, I'm certainly not going to stop you. And if you want to use it to pick up Americans, they'll probably be happy to indulge. There we go. Manual. I should have put that up while I was in the starting soon screen. But let's go through and say hellos. Hello, Pekon Echo. Hello, Seribot. Hello, Wande. Hello, me. Hello, Tim Shelf Show. Hello, Karatsun. Hello, Xanadu. Hello, Cat Magician 1. Hello, iPop. And of course, hello to all of the lurkers and the VOD watchers. I appreciate all of you. It's a real kindness and a real flattery. There are people who still wish to watch me, even though I am not able to respond to them. That's oddly flattering. I tend to assume that people are mostly here because of my responsiveness, because I am good at responding to chat and answering their questions, so that somebody would find me entertaining and interesting beyond that is a nice little bonus that I don't quite expect. Of course, I did that on purpose. Karatsun. And there are many things that a person could suggest. There are specific voice lines that people find appealing. I know that my friend Inari responds rather strongly to certain ones. And I know that there are certain nonverbal things that people like to hear. And of course, there are some no-goes would be a good one to do. It is. I mostly simply do not want to run afoul of certain copyright issues. And while I am willing to read out specific lines, if you'd like to request a specific voice line, I always am very cautious about this because, as people have no doubt noticed about me, my mind tends to go to the extremes rather quickly. I tend to think first about the most extreme options. And so when I say, oh, you can suggest a voice line for me to read, I half expect people to try to get me to say something actively incriminating, or even just incredibly distasteful to me personally. So I do have some limits. But kiss sounds I'm not opposed to, or mouth pops. Those are not things that I have a particular opposition to. Or even, many types of things I could say. At this point, I am pretty sure I know what Kara is thinking that she wants. And I am, at this point, just kind of teasing her by not even mentioning it. I've actually had that redeem in the past, even in a non-ASMR context. Oh, yes. I was talking about that yesterday, and it's something that I'm curious about how to execute on. Because the nib scratches sound really wonderful to me, but I don't quite know how to set up the microphone. Hello, Deedle-Dee-Doo. I don't quite know how to set up the microphone to capture the pen nib scratches without it being incredibly loud for my voice. Yeah, Kara, you will have to ask. Yeah, there is Foley style. I do know that a lot of people who make calligraphy content, they don't speak at the same time that they do calligraphy. And so that makes it easier to use a directional or shotgun microphone to capture and isolate just the sound of the pen nibs. And even then, they don't even tend to do that very often. They tend to simply play music over themselves doing calligraphy. That is the much more stereotypical method. Yes, thank you, Owlinga. Kara, there's no shame in asking for things that you need. That's true. I have considered that. My current microphone is a CAD E40 that a friend of mine gave me, and I'm very grateful for the generosity. But when I was using my previous microphone was a Shure SM58, which is far too directional. It's far far too directionally sensitive for my purposes. And so I was looking for replacements for it. Hold on just a moment. But yes, one of the ones I was suggesting was what I was thinking about was a lav. I was thinking about a lav. I don't have a lav. I might put that on the throne. That might be a good thing to put on the throne. I had doubts about lavs when I first see them. Whenever I see them, I always look at a lavalier and I'm like, they seem so small. Surely the size of these microphones implies that there are quality and important components in them that do not scale down to the level of a lavalier mic. And while this may be true, we use lavalier mics for TV interviews with important politicians, so clearly there is some improvement for that. Yeah, lavs absolutely have some merits, and one of those future stream ideas that I have been kicking around in the back of my head is the marathon-a-thon, where I run a marathon, well, live on stream, and a lav would not be too bad. A lav would be pretty useful for that. Also, I just noticed, Linger, you changed your name. You changed your name. Congratulations on the name change. What led you to changing from Lingue to Linger? I'm curious. I'm curious. Yes, Kara. This is already a substantial improvement in the microphone quality over what I had been using previously. The SM58 was fine, but it had directional issues. And the other microphones I've used have been poor. For a while, for quite a bit of my streaming career, I was using I kid you not, 50-cent microphone. 50 cents. 50 cents for that microphone. Honestly, I still actually use it. I just don't use it for streaming. It's pretty good. Shure MV7X. I'll probably be sticking with this one for a while, unless I decide to get a 3DO. I've been pretty happy with it. There's a possibility that it's a... There's a possibility, of course, that this microphone will be damaged in some way and that I'll simply need to replace it. But for the moment, I have not had any issues with it. Yes, like I said, this was a very wonderful and generous gift. This was a very wonderful, generous gift. Give me just a moment here. Thank you for that. Thank you for that. I'm a little bit more sensitive, I suppose, a little bit more cautious about the possibility of you all picking up, for example, chewing sounds. I know that there are people out there who are into that, but I'm certainly not going to spring that on people unplanned and unannounced. That seems like a little bit much, a little bit hardcore, as they say, for what we're trying to do here today. A little bit hardcore for our first time. Though, like I said, I am open to suggestions and feedback at this point. Yes. But yes. I had not heard of this company before I got this microphone, and it's turned out to be quite good. Turned out to be quite good. A little lo-fi from time to time, yes. It's an interesting phrase, the lo-fi. I've never quite understood what is meant by it, because it's a term that mostly dates back from after my time. When I was younger, people would talk about high fidelity all the time, helped in large part by the popular movie of that title. But lo-fi has struck me as a bit of a throwback. To, I should say, retro. It's been a bit of a retro thing, and retro things are always... When you get to the age that people intentionally make retro of your past, it does start to feel odd. Crow Country, for example, is one that stands out to me quite a bit, because Crow Country is intentionally using Final Fantasy VII PS1 style graphics, and good lord, I am of the belief that the Final Fantasy VII PS1 graphics are perhaps the ugliest video game graphics that have ever been performed. Yes, I did understand that, Alinga, that it does mean using like lower quality and fidelity, but it's always been something that's like I said, it's a cultural moment and reference that I find surprising and unusual. It's I suspect that it is... I have a bit of a similar feeling to it that a lot of boomers had about how Back to the Future is very... and harkened in a very retro moment for the 50s. That it made people really nostalgic for and really ape the 50s and bringing back poodle skirts and things of this nature. And, to see it happen with things that I grew up in that were simply technological limitations is odd. When I see lo-fi, I immediately think highly compressible. Highly compressible, yes. The squished. Highly compressible or highly compressed? I am actually learning a lot here from you folks, because I have mentioned this fairly frequently, but it does color my perceptions and my thoughts on these issues quite a bit. which is that I have quite poor hearing. I do not have good ears. I struggle mightily to hear distinctions that other people find intuitive and easy to hear. Oh, I've been squished. Being squished doesn't necessarily mean being squishy. That's fair, though I will confess to also being pretty squishy, but I don't know if it's in the same sensibility. Squeezes you to make you lo-fi. That's pretty good, Owlinga. Thank you for that. But yes, I am wondering that like I said, I struggle a little bit to tell what those effects are. I probably can only tell about the difference between low fidelity and ultra low fidelity. I can tell the difference between listening on good sound equipment versus listening to the supermarket announcement system. Hello, Kairu Kailovsky. Hello, hello, hello. I'm actually somewhat surprised to see you here. I thought you specifically called out the ASMR stream as one you specifically didn't want to attend, but I appreciate you showing up. I appreciate you showing up with your diamond pickaxe. I always recognize your little blue pickaxe. Is that supposed to be diamond or is that supposed to be something else? What are some blue metals? Can't think of any that are that color. That's a glass, or what's the name of that material? Turquoise. A turquoise one. Oh, we should be in ASMR. We should be in ASMR. That is extremely. That's very, Kyra. That's very, very kind of you. That's very, very kind of you. Thank you very much. Yes, I changed it just now. I changed it just now. But yes, I appreciate the folks who stop by, even if they are just supporting me as one of the homies. That's still a real kindness. That's still a real generosity. And so thank you. Thank you for that. Thank you for that. I do appreciate it. I do appreciate it. But yes, no, Pekon Neko, that's fine, that's fine. That's fine. Don't worry about it. Oh yes. Oh, Mora, you are a person who I really did not expect to see here. You didn't look. Oh, fair enough. Goodbye, Mora-sensei. Goodbye, Mora-sensei. Thank you for stopping by. but goodbye. Mora is a well trod ASMR hater. She is very vocal about her hatred for this and her disinterest in what I am doing. So that is extremely unsurprising. I'm surprised that she showed up here at all. It's a bit amusing because she particularly likes compliments. I used to have a compliment redeem and I disabled it. It's still actually in my dashboard because it was being massively overused. Oh, I'm crunching now? Ooh. I was moving my microphone position a little bit. Thank you, Tim Shell Show. Thank you for that. Okay, I think I know what did that, so it should be done now. But thank you for that. I am getting a very poor connection. So it might have been that. It might have been... Say compliments to 10K? Maybe. I did put it on a cooldown, but I did stop it because it was feeling overused to me. It was feeling a little bit overused, and so I put a stop to it, but it seems like a natural one to do for an ASMR stream. And I have been assuming that there are some people here who I'm assuming are looking forward to that, but I'm going to make them actually make the suggestion before I offer it up unsolicited. You would have overused that on... Yes, that's true, Pekko. Yes, yeah, Kara is exerting her sense of patience. She is being something, but I'm not sure what it is. I don't quite know the words for it. She is doing it very well, though, being very patient. It must be understood that neither by word nor deed had I given Fortunato cause to doubt my good will. I continued, as was my wont, to smile in his face, and he did not perceive that my smile now was at the thought of his immolation. That's a nice line. Thank you, iPop. Thank you, iPop. As was my wont. A fun little piece of English grammar there, as was my wont. That is to say, in my methodology or according to my preferences, people sometimes just simply misspell it as W-A-N-T, but no, W-O-N-T has a slightly different meaning, and I will be honest, I do not know how to use that word outside of the phrasing and grammar of as was, possessive, want. I just generally don't know how to use it. I've never been called upon to use it grammatically outside of that context. So I just haven't. Explaining old words as he is wont to do. That is true. That is true. I do love explaining old words. I should know more about should know more about old words. I know a fair amount about old words. It is, as you've probably all noticed, a significant part of my content and how I think about the world, but etymology is not actually a particular strong suit of mine. That said, it is a Oh, I did not know that you were going for a name. I did not know that either. I thought it was a first name, last name question. So you are teaching somebody live on the air. Oh, it's strangely I like East of Eden. I actually rather like Steinbeck. So this means that it's been a long time since I've read it. I must have forgotten a lot here. Ooh, hello, Blue. Hello, Beautiful Angel. It's good to meet you. Yes, and Timshel is a Hebrew word. Is a Hebrew word about concerning the question of free will. What would a pen scratching paper sound like? So a pen scratching a piece of paper, well, I obviously do not use a proper quill. And hello, ichthyologist, PhD. Hello. It doesn't... how do I describe the sound of the pen scratching? It's kind of a dry scratch. I've heard it so often that it's actually the reference sound that I use for describing other sounds, so I'm struggling to describe it here. But it's both lower and sharper than if you run your fingernails across your own clothes. And I found it substantially more pronounced with the dip nib than I did with my fountain pens, as a rule. That is how I've used it. I am trying to scratch my pants in a way that the microphone will pick it up, but it doesn't seem to be working very well. It does not seem to quite get there. It does not seem to quite get there. Oh, that's all right, Blue. That's all right. This is something of an experimental stream for me. I am testing things out. The only thing I really care about is getting some feedback. I would like to know from people who found it particularly pleasant or unpleasant. I am trying to decide if I will do full ASMR streams in the future, or maybe I just do some ASMR redeems as periodic redeems on the channel. So I am trying to figure those things out. Ooh, that would be very lovely of you, Blue. That would be very lovely. That's very, very kind of you. Again, I merely want to figure out if I am yes. A redeem that I have considered somewhat frequently is the traditional Ara redeem, because I know that some folks, like my friend Inari, respond very very strongly to it. So I'd like to keep that in the back pocket. And I know people who do different ones. My friend Glitchika she does full ASMR streams, and those are her main content. But my friend Bodega Rat just has a couple of ASMR redeems integrated into her regular channel content. Mostly like mouth pop sounds, like that. I don't know how good those come through, but that's certainly one that I have considered. That's certainly an option, because I don't find them to be particularly challenging. And I do have the emote for it, though I don't know if I can quite match that pace. It's a very even pace on the emote. A little bit tricky. Please let me know if it's good or if it's just annoying. I really want to have this feedback about what's working and what's not. Like I said, this is an experimental stream, first and foremost. That's what we're going for here. But yes, when I'm with an REI period, when somebody redeems Ara on her stream, I like to and it tends to get a pretty good reaction out of her, though she's been getting used to it. She's been getting used to it. I need to stop using it so much around her. I'll put it on the shelf around her for a few weeks. So I'm gonna probably leave that alone, or maybe only do it once or twice. Maybe she gets too breached about it. Oh, that's good, Emperor's Armpits. That's good, Emperor's Armpits. It's late at night for you. It's quite late at night for you. If you need to rest, please have a good night and sleep well. I will be back on Thursday, though I will not be back tomorrow. Wednesdays are my day off of streaming. I need to give my throats some time to rest. I need to give my brain some time to rest, and also I have obligations outside of streaming that I need to meet. Could you do a soft-spoken, close mic short ramble on your favorite book? Well, as I've talked about fairly frequently, I do not really have a single favorite book, but I am currently rereading a book called Heroes Die, which is one of my favorite books of all time. I love the book Heroes Die. Heroes Die is a sci-fi fantasy novel from the early 2000s. Good night, Emperor's Armpits. Is a sci-fi fantasy novel from the early 2000s that is about colonialism and blood sports and acting and what it means to have an ethical perspective. And on reread, I was worried that I would have an experience similar to Star Wars, where when I watched Star Wars as an adult and treated it as a serious movie in the same way that I treat a David Lynch film or a Satoshi Kon film, I did not find Star Wars to be all that impressive. But on rereading Heroes Die, I'm really struck by how it influenced my own writing. It has a very working class white guy use of metaphor in and amongst some truly high literary references. The fourth book in the series in particular, I found to be incomprehensible without references to Bertrand Russell. I found that I needed to read 200 level philosophy 202 level books just in order to keep up with this sci-fi book. So in and amongst that, it is fundamentally a book written with very working class metaphor. I feel the knife against my neck for a year or two. That kind of thing. YFUBABY, thank you for the follow. Thank you for the follow. Ooh, I could read some small things I like. There was actually a poem that I have queued up for use as a poem. For calligraphy. This is by Lawrence Ferlinghetti. Recipe for happiness in Khabarovsk or any place. YFU baby wants to know what a geezer is. Hold on, let me finish this poem. I'm getting distracted a little bit too easily. Recipe for happiness in Khabarovsk or any place. One grand boulevard with trees, with one grand cafe in sun, with strong black coffee in very small cups. One not necessarily very beautiful man or woman who loves you. One fine day. So that's a poem that I already had kind of in the queue, in the hopper, so to speak. And define geezer. Define geezer. So geezer is simply the male equivalent of hag. That is all that it is a male equivalent of hag. And so that is one who geezes. Yes. One who geezes. Young geezers are called geeslings. That's very good. That's very good. Can you explain the second law of thermodynamics? Okay, this one's I'm just doing this as a long one. This is just fun to explain. I actually liked thermo quite a bit when I was playing at being a chemist in my youth. This is one of those things that me and EG talk about with some frequency, that me and EG went through entire chemistry degrees and careers and then became artists, became performing. Well, they are more of a visual artist, but I am more of a excuse me, more of a performing artist than they are. Well, they're also a performing artist, but they are much more of a visual artist than I am. So the second law of thermodynamics is either, depending on how you think about it, either quite easy or quite simple. The core of the second law of thermodynamics is that heat is lost as time moves. I shouldn't say heat is lost. Heat is created as time moves forward. So let's talk about this a little bit more. Let's talk about this a little bit more. The issue with the second law of thermodynamics is that any process that has thermodynamic influence on the world, which is to say, functionally anything that is done, will generate heat. And the second law proposes that within a closed system, we are limited by this, that this involves the irreversible creation of heat, or at least entropy, that over time, this is a statistical claim. It is always worth remembering that the laws of thermodynamics are not strong laws, they are statistical laws, that over time they will inevitably happen, but they are not going to happen every single time. You will see spontaneous reversals of thermodynamic principles, but they will be very rare, and they will be massively, massively outweighed by thermodynamics moving forward in its expected manner. Okay, Kara. Okay, Kara. Drive safe. Be a good girl. And so, the second law of thermodynamics is basically just that is the fundamental gist of it. It can always be stated more complicated and more thoroughly, but I guess Kara really likes thermodynamics. But yes, so it's important to not wear things out, Tim. It's important to not to wear things out to keep things, to use anticipation. Hello, Valgor. A pleasure to have you here. A pleasure to have you here. Well, it does sound that psychic spell has a high cooldown. Well, I do think that was a redeem that I was thinking about. I was trying to tease Kara or somebody else into actually suggesting it, but that was on my short list. I say as if I wrote any of this down. That was on my short list of ASMR related redeems. Oh, Tim Shell, that's very good to hear. That's very good to hear. But I was trying to, like I said, trying to tease it out of her, trying to draw it out of her, because I know that that's what Kara is like, and it's very fun to drag these things out of her. So I was looking forward to that, but I figured that it was worth doing before she got on the road. So, hello, Hunter. Hello, Hunter. Welcome in. Welcome in. Welcome in. I have just caused one person to do multiple key smashes, so I'm feeling rather proud of myself. But people were asking for an explanation of the second law of thermodynamics, which I don't think I've given the best explanation of, because it's a little bit of it's simultaneously simple, but the implications of it are massive. The fundamental core of it is that as we move forward in time, the total amount of entropy in the universe increases. And this is non-reversible. That is to say that the universe will eventually move forward into states of extremely low coherence. And that there is nothing within the boundaries of what we understand about the universe that will actually overcome this, that will allow us to get past this problem. And so this is what people talk about when they talk about the heat death of the universe. This is what people talk about when they talk about how time moves forward. This is what people mean when they talk about thermodynamic loss and heat loss. This is not the only form of heat loss that people are concerned with, obviously, but this is the raw, naked physics form of heat loss that is worth considering. Oh my, I just took a look at my stats. I have had 17.8% dropped frames. That's really bad. I am not in Mensa. I am not in Mensa, YFU baby. I have never had a particular desire to be in Mensa. If you would like to learn more about my perspective on Mensa, is very heavily influenced by Jamie Loftus's My Year in Mensa. Let me grab it. I do suspect that I would do well on the testing process of it because I am quite good at standardized tests, substantially more so than other elements of my personality would imply. I'm actually very, very good at standardized tests, but I have I have not attempted to join that particular society. I tend to think of myself as very educated, but not necessarily intelligent. I do have many letters after my name. I do have many, many letters after my name. And that is mostly a sign of my stubbornness, much more so than anything else. Oh yes, absolutely, absolutely. I did not know if you had specific questions about Mensa. I'm mostly giving the citation because I do have thoughts about Mensa, but they are primarily through the lens of Jamie Loftus's experiences with Mensa. I do not have firsthand experiences, and when I think about the problems I have in life and the solutions that I need, I tend to think of my problems in life as being a matter of, I feel like I am stretched very thin. Tends to be where I view the fundamental problems I have in life. I do not tend to view my problems as being a result of lacking connections or of being unable to find people that I get along with. I'm a very, very social person. I'm a very, very social person, and I live in a very big city, and I come from a very big family. I am not worried about not being able to find things. I am worried about being able to budget myself, about being able to stretch myself far enough to meet all of the demands placed upon me. That is what I worry about. Hello, Pickles Little Dill. Welcome in. Welcome in. I apologize, Pickles, if ASMR is not your thing. This is today's experimental ASMR stream, and as I just continual reinforcement of this is an experimental stream. This is very much an experimental stream. I do not know if I wish to do more ASMR streams in the future. Oh, no. I'm doing quite well, Pickles. I'm doing quite well. This is a little bit more of a challenge on the voice, but this is an experimental stream. A bit of a change of pace from my usual fare of video games and calligraphy and miniatures painting. This is a change of pace for me, and I am mostly doing this because I wish to expand and experiment as an artist. I take streaming as an art form quite seriously. Let me pull it up. It's not that one. Where is it? That's my visas. There we go. But for folks who may not have seen this, this should be a... Let me just double check this. Viewer link. There we go. I want the viewer link. This is a presentation that I did recently on Blue Sky about my philosophy with streaming. About my philosophy as a streamer and my approach to it as an art form, and what I consider to be very, very valuable advice for anybody in this space. I think it's very useful for those of us on this side of the screen to treat this as an art form. And periodically experimentation is necessary to keep yourself fresh and excited. And so I am testing this out because I know that people said that they thought I had a lovely voice, and I have friends who do ASMR, and it seems to go well for them. And I wanted to give myself a hand at it, give myself an attempt at it. I want to see what it was like before I committed more resources to it. I'm a big believer in try before you buy. One of the pieces of advice that is not in here that I consider to be my most important one for streamers is to jump into it. If you are curious about streaming, if you are wondering if you might like streaming, and you haven't yet decided, I strongly recommend that you test it out. You see what you enjoy about streaming, and then you make you see how you feel before you spend a lot of money on it. That is the catastrophe that I worry about with VTubers, is that getting a model and getting a streaming setup can be hundreds or thousands of dollars. And if it turns out that you do not like the fundamental art form of streaming, I would rather you learn that about yourself before you spend the money. Because as much as I like streaming, it is not the only or best art form. It is simply the art form that I happen to enjoy quite a bit. This is my first time hearing voiced ASMR, and honestly, I'm having a great time. That's very good, Pekon That's very, very good. Yes, Tim Chill, that is absolutely a good move. I recommend when I very first started, and I'd be surprised if anybody has any record of this because I didn't save the VODs anywhere. They're long gone. I used a Vroid. I spent an afternoon in Vroid, and then I got started. And then I found that I really liked it. And then I did a consultation with some folks and did a lot of strategizing and hired an artist to make a PNG tuber for me, and then hired that artist again to make a fully rigged model of me, and here we are. Referring to it as lost media makes me feel kind of sad, even though that is technically accurate. I don't feel bad about having lost track of it, if I'm honest. It's just part of the past. It served its purpose. And so it goes. I meditate very frequently on impermanence. My favorite poem of all time is by Li Bai. I watch the birds passing far away. A solitary cloud wanders by. We sit together, the mountain and I, until only the mountain remains. That's my favorite poem. That's my favorite poem of all time. I mean, you don't need much of a microphone, Tim Shelso. I was doing this with a decent viewership on a 50-cent microphone. So you should be fine. If you are able to make voice calls over Discord, you are probably fine for getting started. So I recommend just doing that. No need to spend hundreds of dollars on a microphone. I can't recommend that. I think that's not a good use of money right there. I don't think that's a good thing to get started on. I think it's better to start small and figure out if you enjoy the art form. Because no matter how much money you spend on microphones and PNGs and hardware, you are going to spend some percentage of your time talking to an empty room. And you simply must accept that an empty room, talking to yourself with an empty room, is just part of the deal. Since that's $30, I believe that you're talking about a Yeti. Blue Yeti is, I believe, what you were talking about. Those ones are cheap. They are sort of minimum viable product. They're usually considered somewhat overpriced for what you're getting. But also the ones that are considered more efficient gains are also more expensive as a rule. So I can't fight you too much on that one. And again, I was doing a 50-cent microphone that I bought directly from a factory in Shunjin. So fight you? No. I'm not much of a fighter, Tim, so fighting is not my way. I think that I have established this quite strongly, that while violence is always an option, there is always another way. That is how I tend to approach the world. I have been in very few fights in life, not zero, but very few. And I don't think I got very much done with those. I think it was kind of a silly waste of time. There was no real gain to that situation, and I think fairly frequently about how video games and movies give us a truly outsized sense of how often people get into fights and commit acts of violence, and particularly kill people, is one that I've always found quite striking. And I think it would be genuinely kind of interesting that I think it would be genuinely kind of interesting to have a game that treated death so seriously. I think that would be kind of interesting. And I cannot think of any that does. I as much as I love Undertale, I feel like Undertale is just a start. I can think of a tabletop RPG that treats death very, very seriously. I can think of one tabletop RPG that treats death very, very seriously. And that is the tabletop game Wanderhome, which is absolutely one of my favorites. Absolutely one of my favorites in the whole wide world. And probably the best campaign I ever ran as a GM was Wanderhome. In Wanderhome, only one class has the ability to use violence. The other classes simply do not have any verbs that enable violence. there's one class that has violence as an option, and how it works is that the class has access to, you may draw your sword and strike down, actually no, it's not strike down, and kill whatever is in front of you. If you do so, you must hand over your character sheet. You are no longer playable. So, I have been struck by this very strongly for years. Again, one of my I in general love this way of writing RPGs. One of those things that's just a very funny thing to do in any RPG is what I've learned to think of as the, what shall we call it? The walking on the potion of walk on floor. Normally in an RPG system, you assume that everyone has the ability to walk on floors. But if all of a sudden you introduce into your game a potion of walking on floors, this has an implication that people generally do not get to walk on floors. And I think this is deeply, deeply funny to think about, right? And so I also think that Wanderhome, by making it so that only one class explicitly has the option of doing violence, and other classes do not. That means that violence is an abnormal part of the world. There's a part of the world that you have to really go out of your way to introduce and to use. And I think that's very fascinating. I think that that's a very cool and funny way to design a game, and I am a huge fan of it. I am a huge, huge fan of it as an approach. The floors are in fact lava. Pickles, I thought you left. Oh no, that's the present. I'm sorry, that's not a goodbye. I got confused here. Yeah, the floors are in fact lava. The floors are in fact lava, and I am pretty no, that's all good. That's all good, Pickles. I just misread my own feed. There is no issue there. TTRPGs. I played a lot of them for a very long time, and to be completely honest, what stopped me from playing more TTRPGs was actually streaming. That's the thing I was emotionally deriving joy from with TTRPGs. It was that sense of being on stage and of improvisation and acting, and now I do that through streaming. I still wind up having lots of opinions on TTRPGs, but I don't wind up playing them very frequently. Because again, if I were to do TTRPGs, it would probably come at the expense of my streaming time. Is probably where I would have to take time out of, take time and energy away from. And so I don't feel much of a need to go back to that. I don't feel much of a need to explore that or push myself more. I want to know I want to know more about that. So I am, personally, like I said, I am somewhat unlikely to be all that involved with that, with doing a lot of TTRPGs. Like I said, I like to think about them, and I've played many of them. I've played many of them. I do not come from my RPG group was not a D&D first RPG group. We stopped playing D&D 20 years ago. I think 20 something years ago is probably when we stopped. And so that is kind of what happened with me there. I was. Oh my goodness! Oh my goodness! Sheepy, hello, Sheepy, hello. Welcome in, Sheepy. Welcome in, Sheepy. What were you doing? Screw Chaos. Shout out Screw Chaos. Screw Chaos is a little sheep. She is an artist and she is extremely French. How was Harvest Moon? How was Harvest Moon? Oh, this was a... bite his ankles. She's also a very aggressive sheep. A shockingly aggressive sheep for what sheep are. Yes, hello Sheepy, hello Screw Chaos, hello Zoltan the Coffee Mancer. Only to Almantas? Only to Almantas. I don't know what it is that I provoke in this lady. Oh geez, okay. Tim Shell Show is going in a different direction. It's going in a different direction than I expected. But yes, I hope that you're having a lovely time with your friendly and delightful time in Harvest Moon. I hope that you're having a good time with that. Harvest Moon was very nice. That's good. That's good. That is very, very good. So I am glad that you are having a good time with that. Stretching a little bit here. Stretching a little bit here. But yes, if you need to go to bed, Shivi, I know that it is late in the evening for you. Please feel free to go ahead and do so. I know that I tend to raid out when I am sleepy and hungry and tired. That tends to be how I raid out. So please be sure to take advantage of that. Please be sure to take advantage of that. And for any of the other raiders who might be unfamiliar with me, my name is Almantas. I am an old man. I love old things. I mostly do calligraphies and paint miniatures. Today is an ASMR stream. It is my first time attempting, as I've labeled it, old SMR. I might fall asleep soon, so if I disappear, I trust you to be a good grandpa and put all the sheets to bed. I will. That is absolutely the plan. Absolutely the plan. So I am, like I've said, I am doing this is an experiment into ASMR. I have never done so before. This is a novel stream to me. I have just been told that my voice is soothing and that if I talk low and slow like this, it has a sometimes very nice effect on people's little brains, and that they find it soothing and appealing. And so I am simply testing this out. I am seeing where we go with this and what we can do with this to make it happen. Small brain. Small and smooth, perfect for skipping across the oceans of thoughts. We are not trying to have a particularly intellectual stream here today, despite the fact that we did end up talking a little bit about the second law of thermodynamics. But, you know, it's important to understand the second law. If you don't understand the second law, it might be a real struggle. Little rat brain like sound. And hello, JD. Welcome in. Welcome in. Hello, Violet. Hello, Violet. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. This is just a relaxed and simple stream. Fish of Justice. Hello, hello, hello. Yes, I recognize your sheep attack. I recognize your sheep attack. But yes. And then that was a minute ago. That was a minute ago. That was when Kara left. Was when I did that. But yes, it's extremely permissible to zone out while doing this one. Extremely permitted. But yeah, I'm willing to put that in as a redeem. How much do people think that that's worth as a redeem? And I have all sorts of controls over redeems. I can give it time limits. Yes, I can give it a global cooldown. I can give it a max per stream. I gotta save up. I haven't said how much it costs. It might not be very expensive. Tell nice things to me, sheep. Since you're never nice to me, I'll pay you for it. Sheepy. Sheepy is a very... It's a very cute artist. And I am actually quite impressed with how much work Sheepy puts into to herself as an artist. Sheepy works very hard to make sure that people see her art, that her art is all over Europe. She is always traveling. She is always building connections. I am very impressed with her. It is a level of vigor that I don't tend to exhibit. Don't say I'm never nice to you, Sheepy. So, I do have some competencies. Of course, you're welcome. You're welcome, Miss Sheepy. You're welcome. But yes, how much should that cost? I unfortunately don't really know you very well, Fishy. I don't know you very well. I have known Screw Chaos quite a bit, but I haven't known you very well, and so it would be difficult for me to say something so personalized. Fist of Justice, you have very fetching gills. I hope that was sufficient. I hope that was something. Oh, Pickle's giving me some suggestions here. Your scales shimmer brighter than the setting suns on the shores of the Pacific Beach. So, there we go. I did have to not say the nearest beach to me, because the nearest beach to me would be like... would not be a very nice beach. I think the nearest beach to me is Coney Island, which is not particularly nice. Yeah, not for me, for Fishy. For Fishy, that makes sense. Can you make one for wool? Your wool is as warm as your family's hearth, and as soft as an angel's wings. I think that works pretty well. I think that worked pretty well. Let me play around a little bit here. So, group, let me add a... No words needed from me. I don't wish to know what you're doing, but chat is so funny. I think that this is a hello Mora. Hello Mora. Beautiful. 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 What's an event that is around 1,000? Actually, I'll make it a little bit cheaper. So let's go over to... Let's go over to... Say the most Gen Alpha slangs you know in ASMR. How much Gen Alpha slang do I actually know? Hold on. I might need to think really hard about this. I might need to think very hard about this one. Stretching a little bit. I think the only one I actually know for sure is Skibbity on Fleek, Adulting Sigma Rizzler. Amazing. Pecco, please tell me which you would like to hear. I'm upset hearing this. Well, Violet. So what I'm hearing is that I need to add a redeem for voice line. That's what I am hearing from this. Screwcast, please, the whole point of the reason why I need input is so I know whether I'm calling you a girl or a boy or an NB or whatever else. Okay, I'm going to disable this one while I come up with a price for it, but... Okay, boy. Pecan Echo, you're a very good boy. Sheepy, you're a very good girl. There we go. There we go. Alright. So we're getting somewhere. We're getting somewhere, folks. Hello, Kara. Hello, Kara. Oh, Kara missed something important, an important development. An important development. Hello, Barbara. Hold on, let me get this right. Spokanapacha. Hello. Welcome in. I hope you enjoy your time here. I guess I'm going to have to call Violet evil. Hello, Huggatree, be a target. Violet, you're a very, very evil boy. I am doing quite well, Barbara. I am doing quite well. This is me doing my first ASMR stream. I have never done it before. It's very experimental. Oh, it popped a bit there. Thank you. All right, Huggatree, thank you for saying hello, and enjoy your good luck at work. Thank you for that feedback, Kara. Thank you for that feedback. I don't have a pop filter on my microphone, so I will have to... Yes, so let me experiment a little bit with this. So I am just going to keep talking while I get slightly closer to the microphone. Oh, hello, Sarah YSM. I am using a CAD E40. I should probably have this written down somewhere. This is my microphone. That is what I am using. Cyril is just fine. That's fine. I do enjoy quite a bit reading people's usernames very literally, very verbatim. I have a very fond memory of one of my regulars has the name Xanadu with an underspace after every letter, and so I enunciate every single read someone's name. For example, here we will go with Matthew underscore rice underscore seeker. I think it's quite funny. I think it's a funny bit to be very literal with people's usernames, even when they're very difficult to pronounce. It's amusing to me. It's amusing to me. Cyril YSM. What does the YSM mean? Your saucy maiden. Almantas, capital V, capital T, exactly. If you want me to show you what my audio stuff looks like later, I can show it. It's being used through Wavelink, though. Oh, yes, it is on a do. Well, Matthew, right now for the ASMR one, this is still an experiment, so I'm testing things out and seeing what I can do with it. But perhaps we should be, I want to know when we start getting popping, so I'm just going to get closer to the microphone from where I'm currently at, and I will just read off numbers in order and tell me when there starts to be popping or problems. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, was that 3 that you heard popping? Did you hear popping at 3? Because I didn't even get to 5. 5 was going to be nearly touching the microphone. This was around 3. Is there popping at this distance? If there's popping at this distance, oh, there's popping at this distance. That's good to know. That's very good to know. Okay. That was where I was going to try to get a very close sound for the microphone, but that's actually really good information to have. I wonder there could be some more experimentation to do with it. Oh, almond. I'm an almond now. Violite asks, having done it 2 hours already, how do you feel about it? I am enjoying it. It is my favorite. I shouldn't say my favorite. I am really. I enjoy seeing audience reactions quite a bit. I really do. I really do. I really do enjoy seeing how my chat reacts and seeing how folks respond. It makes me very happy. It pleases me quite a bit. And so I've been enjoying that. It is demanding a little bit more of my voice than I am used to. And so I do not think I could do an 8-hour ASMR stream. I do not know that that would be a possibility for me. I do have to wonder if I would be able to keep up I do wonder if I'm probably going to have to evaluate this afterwards, and I would appreciate feedback on this, if ASMR is something that I should incorporate into other streams, or if I should make it a periodic stream. That's kind of the biggest question, is if this is better done as a full dedicated stream, or if this is done as a part of other streams. That's definitely an option. That's definitely an option. To do it that way. Yes, I could probably show you what the issue with doing this with calligraphy is. I can probably just show it to you. Let's go over to the live. Oh, nope, not that one. This one. And let me fiddle a bit with DroidCam. Let me fiddle a little bit with that. I like the single ASMR streams been clicking other. It's something to think about. It's something to think about. I suppose I will probably just have to think about a little bit. Once again, my iPhone betrays me. Getting my camera working. But I will show you what the issue is with doing a hand cam. I'll just show it to you shortly. So here's the problem with me doing this as a hand cam. This is where my hand goes. This right here, this is my art space. This is my art space right here, and that is the issue with doing this as a dedicated stream, is that I've had to put my mic in front of me, right in the area where I use my where I do my hand cam. My mic has to go where my hand cam goes for this. I can do, if I put my microphone on its proper mount. Yes, I have an overhead microphone holder, and I've taken it off of that. Yes, it's a very bad keyboard. It's not a keyboard. It's not a very good keyboard. But yes, I have an overhead mic arm, and so if I lean into the microphone enough to do ASMR effects with my once on the overhead, it breaks all of my tracking. I don't know if people have noticed that when I do go in for a nice low breathy readout, all of my tracking breaks. Just briefly, but if I were to do that for an entire stream, I would have no tracking for the entire stream. I don't mind it for a line or two, but for hours, it's not great. No need for tracking if you're an almond. I mean, the almond does track. There is tracking with the almond. You can see that. 1 hour Almantas staring into your soul. There is tracking for this. It's not nothing. It's not no tracking. There's still some tracking. Yeah. is a dad joke. A dad joke. Yeah, you need Kari Charybdis for that. I'm not a very good dad joke guy. I'll have to look these up. I will have to look up a dad joke. Okay, these are actually not bad. What do a bedbug and the Eiffel Tower have in common? I'll repeat it. What do a bedbug and the Eiffel Tower have in common? They're both parasites. Ho 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 ho. Yeah, that one wasn't bad. that one I kind of liked. That one I kind of liked. I'm honestly not much of a pun guy. My pun game is actually pretty weak. I need to work on it. I need to work on that quite a bit. So yeah. So I am looking at my ASMR rewards, and I've added a good boy, girl, NB option. I have reading a voice line, and I've added Ada. But those ones I haven't priced yet, and I'm trying to come up with prices for them. I feel like Ada should be in a similar price range to the good boy, possibly lower. But the voice line should be more expensive because you could customize it. Ooh, oh. What's a sweet thing that works as a rizzing up of sorts? Kara is asking for flirting suggestions. And so I will confess that my concepts of how to flirt are largely from the perspective of men hitting on women. Hello 1000 skeletons. Hello. That is largely where I get my thought from, because I used to wait tables, and flirting with customers was just part of the option. Oh, is Matthew, are you suggesting like the Vine boom or something like that? The metal pipe sound? But yes, Kara is hitting the nail on the head. The way that I think about the best ways to compliment a person are to avoid thinking about obvious compliments, or to avoid thinking about the obvious compliments and to think deeply about what a person has agency over that might be going unnoticed. Finding things that people have control over and that are specific tend to be things that really catch people off guard. Specific fashion choices is a good one. Work that they've put in is always a very valid one. I personally like to I value kindness and generosity very strongly. And so when I think of a compliment to pay to people, that it comes very much from my heart. It is to think about a moment I saw them display kindness to another person or to an animal. People tend to notice that very strongly. Earlier, she may have gone to sleep by now, but earlier Sheepy came in and she asked me to say something nice about her. And so what I said about her was I talked about how I know that she travels very frequently across Europe to showcase her art, that she works very hard at putting her art out in front of people. I did not use the word talent. I did not compliment her physical appearance. This is a problem that straight men have very profoundly. That Matthew, that's not a terrible one. The problem with the the can opening ASMR option is that I drink very few things that come out of cans. My only drink that I have had today is tap water out of a bottle. But yes, the sweet thing that works as an ASMR source. I did treat that like Kara was just asking me a question. And not like she was giving a suggestion. Once per event then perhaps. I could, I mean, the thing is, I could get more canned drinks, right? There's nothing stopping me from getting more canned drinks. I will be doing that. You will be able to hear. I will try to make sure that you can hear me opening up the bottles for the drunk stream. I will try to make sure that is something that people see. But I am going to. Yes, it's going to be me and Alex. Me and my good friend Alex will be doing that on Thursday. But yes. So I tend to. So that like I said, I used to drink diet root beer quite a bit, and the reason why I stopped was that diet root beer made me strangely hungry. I think it was the sweetness combined with the lack of calories trained my body to expect something more full. So you have Crown Royale apple whiskey. Oh my, you are going to get substantially more trashed than me and Alex. Alex is going to be having Strong Zero, and I am going to be having Bell's Two-Hearted IPA. I love the Bell's Two-Hearted IPA. I think it's a absolute delight. Spoken like a true youth. Tennessee Moonshine has a very nice apple pie. 1,000. Am I subscribed to? I don't think I'm subscribed to Kara at the moment. Let's see. I'm subscribed. I'm subscribed to Asim right now. Huh. That surprises me. Obviously, I'm subscribed to Brini's and Vex. No, I'm not subscribed to. I don't got Kara's emotes. But if somebody has the Kara grab, please break that out. Please. For emotes, unfortunately, it does appear that Exocorpse is full up. Oh, I meant to. I was put on a task because another person was asking for emote artists. So I. Yes. Oh, Vampire VT, thank you for the follow. I do always feel like I need to let people know this is not a typical stream for me, but it may become one. I have been enjoying this, though I do feel like it is more demanding of my endurance than other stream types. Keys. My keys, Matthew, you were suggesting absolute terrorism. It's an almond. It's an almond. This is the almond toss redeem because my name is Almantas. So sometimes people make puns about my name. We've got a couple of other ones that are in mind but have not been done. So I'm just going to write some of them out because they might be more... It might be more obvious what they are, seeing them in writing. Those are some of my ridiculous ideas for redeems. The owl redeem is the only one that I really want rigged. The all I don't want to rig up, and the all on top, the toss I don't need to rig up. Or Montas. Like EG. Like EG. Okay, we've got silly things happening in the chat. We've got some silly things happening in my chat over here. Orb. Yeah, orb. Hold on just a moment. I am uninterested in sneezing in your ears. I've so far managed to evade the long arm of VTuber sneezes. But... Oh, and we're back to regular almonds. So, Vampire, if you're wondering about my normal appearance, this is what I normally look like. This is my normal appearance. And this is my most abnormal appearance. The sock. ASMR sock. The A in ASMR. All right. I hope that was worth the points, Matthew. If that was not worth the points, let me know. Let me know. I think I do pretty good on that one, but it's worth practicing. The Ada plus sock is fun. Should I make the Ada cheaper and just put on a global cooldown so that I'm not blowing my voice out using it every 20 seconds? That's what I'm wondering. Cheaper but with a cooldown? I can mess with that. So let me edit that. First of all, I put the global cooldown on first. So 300 seconds sounds reasonable to me. And let's go with 220, I think. 220 for the most chaos. Well, I was mostly wanting to hear your response to it, Kara. I was very interested in hearing your response. Yes, chaos is a spice. You want to put cumin on your broccoli, you don't want to put broccoli on your cumin, after all. Ah, yes, it's true, it's true. It's true. It's true. There's such a thing as too much chaos. There's a point where noise just becomes nothing. And I think that's worth avoiding that. I think it's worth avoiding that. Oh, Skyrish Bear. Hello. Welcome in, Raiders. How was Final Fantasy XIV? Skyrish Bear. Skyrish Bear is a friend of me and Kara. Welcome in, Raiders. I am Almantas, former professor, current VTuber, old man who loves old things. And today is my first ASMR stream that I have ever done. It is a very experimental stream. And so please use the ASMR suggestion redeem to suggest things that I could do as ASMR readouts, recordings, lines, etc. I would appreciate that greatly because this is a new art form to me. I am experimenting. I am wanting to push what I do as an artist, and I have friends who do ASMR as their central content, and I know people who listen to ASMR, but I haven't really done it myself, and I wanted to test it out. I wanted to see what it was like. Because you're starving and it's 23:27. Alright, Skyrish Bear, please get some food. I know that I tend to raid out when I am hungry and tired. So please get some food, and it is late o'clock. I will just give you, Skyrish, good night. Hopefully that is nice for you. What would an ASMR collab be like? I will not lie. Me and Glitchica have talked briefly about doing an ASMR collab where we would do something like play Overwatch or Marvel Rivals with the sounds extremely low, and would just stick to using our ASMR voices for the entire thing, which would, I think, be very, very funny. Tim Shell, have a good night. So that's something that we have considered, and I think would be quite funny. Are you able to do a southern drawl? Asking for a friend. I can kind of do a southern drawl. I wonder I wonder if I can do it while doing ASMR voice. I wonder if I can do it while doing ASMR voice, because the trick to a southern drawl, in my experience, is to be very lazy with the tongue. I am going a bit into my drawl right now. It does require a little bit of warm up, so to say, but I don't know if it is interplaying appropriately with my ASMR voice. I haven't really tested very much. Oh yes, it is very classy, Miss Soon. It is very much a southern gentleman voice that I am going for. I hope that it is not too offensive to your southern sensibilities. For as it may be well known, I am very a Yankee. I do not come from them honorable people south of the Mason-Dixon line. My ancestors do not hail from the land of cotton, rattlesnakes, and alligators. So I cannot claim any particular heritage. I have spent only minimal amounts of time in the Carolinas, in Georgia, a little bit of time in Texas. I've spent a fair amount of time in Bama, Mississippi, but I have a very, how shall we say, refined notion of what it is to sound southern. Partially, I do wonder if it may not be a result of my disinterest in mocking the poor man of the South, for, well, I may have strong opinions on the many crimes of that land, I do not begrudge them of its most deprived of peoples. I am only willing to exert my willingness and capabilities in mockery against those whom I see as not of a sympathetic bent, so to speak. That boy ain't right, I tell you what. Can I do a transatlantic accent? That requires a little bit more warm-up on my part. Hold on. That might take I have wanted to do the transatlantic accent and do the transatlantic announcer accent quite a bit. I don't know how I could do it doing the ASMR voice, because a lot of how I do the transatlantic accent is by talking a little faster and a little higher, and I think I might need to use some specific warm-up lines in order to really enter it. I think I'm kind of suffering right now. I think I am kind of sounding slightly southern and just a little bit hyper. I think I am sounding like a southerner who is trying to sound like a northerner. I don't think it's really working very well. Oh, I think I'm getting into there, but I don't think it works in the ASMR voice. I think that the things that I do to make the ASMR voice work are mutually exclusive with some of the traits that I do to do the 1920s radio host voice. Yeah, I'm sorry. That one I might need to make. That's one of the ones that I have wanted to have as a voice redeem on the main channel for some time, but I've not felt comfortable with my ability to do the transatlantic accent. So I will have to I will have to play around with that a little bit. And it did seem like I could kind of do the southern accent well. I can kind of do the southern accent while I'm doing the ASMR voice, but lot. It's with the radio announcer voice. It's too high energy. A little bit tricky. A little bit tricky. Is in non-trivially the trickiness of it for me is that I don't do a lot of accent play. I mostly only break out the southern accent when I've been drinking a lot. And it's mostly a matter of not being particularly used to it, I think. I am not a trained voice actor. It is something that I would like to get a little bit better at. As I've mentioned many times on here before, my number one streamer that I want to be like, that I look up to, is Grimmy. That's my number one. And I look up to Grimmy and admire her quite a bit, but she is a very skilled voice actor. She is very skilled at going between voices and at having a very different personality. Yes, I really look up to Grimmy quite a bit. I really look up to Grimmy quite a lot. And so he used to work in the haunted house industry. Ooh, interesting. As I've mentioned, I come from academia, is where I come from. And so the emphasis on my knowledge, my ability to teach, is very heavily based on is very heavily based on my ability to, I should say the skill set really emphasizes the ability to respond quickly to novel questions, to explain complicated concepts simply, and to explain complicated concepts quickly, and to know when to interleave in jokes. Yep, it's about enunciation and clarity and repetition. Those are kind of the skills rather than range. Academics don't tend to develop a lot of range in their vocal work. Whereas, for example, Morp, my friend Morpo, has a really extensive range as a really extensive range, which is very different than what I've got. My range is actually quite limited. I would like to expand a little bit, and the transatlantic is definitely one I would like to extend. I wonder if I can do the Uncle Iroh accent. Is that racist? Is that racist to try to sound like Uncle Iroh? Because he's Japanese American. Mako is, though. Not Uncle Iroh himself, but the voice actor, Mako. I don't think it is. Oh, my lung capacity is very good, Pickles. My lung capacity is very, very good. I used to swim a lot, and I'm now a runner. And so my lung capacity is, when I meditate, I usually do 60 seconds in, 60 seconds out per breath. There's nothing small about Almantas. I do. I do have big hands. That is true. Always thinking you need to do things on your own without anyone's support. There is nothing wrong with letting the people who love you help you. Not that I love you. I just met you. Okay, Pekon Neko, I think I am going to take a twist on that. And I'm going to take a twist on that. I'm going to write this down because it might require a little bit of setup. Okay. So I have an idea for that, and instead of it being a specific single quote like that, I will have a redeem that picks a random quote for me to read out from Uncle Iroh or Mr. Rogers. I'll make a cluster of quotes from Iroh and Mr. Rogers, and probably Carl Sagan, and of course Bob Ross. I'll make a little bank of quotes by those, and I'll simply have to figure out how to get it to draw a random number in a way that's convenient. There's an inconvenient way to do it, right? There's an inconvenient way to do it, which is to make a CSV and put it into random.org, and then I roll on that CSV through my web browser every time. And that's fine, but that's a little bit more inconvenient than my bot pulls a quote and gives it to me. That would be the better way to do it. But I think I just need to create a bank of quotes from Uncle Iroh and Mr. Rogers. And I think that is probably the way that I'm going to do that. I think that's probably the way to do that. And so that would not be a bad quote to have on there. And it would be a good way to force me to work a little bit and lean a little bit more into learning how to do voiceover work. Because that is something that voiceover and voice acting work. I've auditioned for a few voice roles. I haven't heard back, which doesn't surprise me too much. I'm not. It is a it has a, what's the word I'm looking for here? It's a competitive environment. It's a heavily competitive environment. I'm not taking it particularly personally. It's a heavily competitive environment. There are many people who are doing that, who are working very, very hard. So that's definitely a way to That's what we are. That's kind of, Let's think about this. I lost track of where my mind was going right there. Brain fell out. Brain fell out moment here. Happens. It does happen. It does happen. It does happen. I am going to stretch and use the bathroom, and I will be back in a few moments. Let me just handle that. Enjoy the fan art gallery while I'm away, and I'll be right back. Hello, 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 hello. I am back, I am back, I am back. Thank you all for being here and for your patience. I apologize for that. There was a bit of a challenge. There was a leak in the bathroom that I needed to deal with. Yeah, that happens. That happens. No, I know how to fix things. What is sus about that? I know how to fix things in the bathroom. I did not grow up as a city boy. But yes. I do wonder if I'm just kind of running out of juice for this one. I do kind of wonder if I am simply running out of energy. How about a Johnny Sins style intro? I don't know what that means. I don't know what a Johnny Sins style intro is. What is... I'm afraid that I might regret Googling this. Oh. You really did wake up and choose violence today, Matthew. His birth name is Stephen Wolf. This guy's birth name was Stephen Wolf, and he didn't feel like that was porn actor enough. Ridiculous. Yeah, that's his last. Johnny Sins is the stage name of Stephen Wolf. So. Yeah. From a Axel series. What does it even? I'm still confused as to what this means. I don't know how. I am not. I feel like I always have to clarify that I am not a particularly sexually naive person. But given the amount of thought and seriousness that folks on this website put into discussing sexual art and pornography, I probably come across like either the biggest boomer or the most uneducated fool on the planet. I definitely don't come across as very naive when it comes into the case of one of the cases. I know so little about corpo VTubers. That's kind of where. Yeah, Vesper is the only one I've heard of from there because people have mentioned him a lot. You watch more of the girls than the guys. I definitely do give my a challenge. I definitely do give. I definitely have a bit of a challenge in watching VTubers, in that my friendship. This is just true of my friendships in general. This is not simply true of my VTubing watching. I've always gotten along better with women than men. I've been very heterosocial in my life. And so it's a bit of a challenge in that I don't really know super well what to do with watching men. I don't really watch men very frequently, and so I don't really know what I do. How to watch men for commentary, how to watch them for understanding, how to try to learn from them and critique myself by comparison. So that's always been a bit of a shortcoming for me, right? That's always been a little bit of a shortcoming for me, because obviously the way that men stream is different than the way that women stream. We have different we've got different ways of doing things. I was like, he's just like me, for real, for real. The thing that I noticed most strongly about Vesper and Randon is the teeth thing. The teeth thing is what I noticed the most. Randon / Vesper has a little bit of a... You can see something with how... You can hear it in his tongue. You can hear it in his tongue, and the teeth feel like a deliberate change, a deliberate element of his character design to make it so that his manner of speaking has an appearance that makes sense. I think that's very interesting. I think that's a very interesting move on their part. Yeah. No, it's pay attention to how he talks. Pay attention to his elocution, and you'll notice that it's I don't know quite how to explain it, but he's got a kind of little bit of a lisp and a little bit of phlegminess, and the teeth make that feel more natural. That's kind of he's my comfort millennial and I'm a millennial. Ah, I see. There's one. You're the first VTuber I've actually watched. That's really funny, Peko Neko. I'm glad that you've decided to stick around and give me a chance. It is genuinely interesting to me to see where a lot of where my audience comes from and how they come to me. It is interesting to see this. What people find what people find interesting, or how they even find me in general. How they find me in general, because you came here from Cielo Slug. Oh, Violite. I don't know how Violite found me. I have people in here who are fans of me because of my tone. I know that Emperor's Armpits, one of my longest viewers, found me because I was active in Cleo IT's chat. And he noticed that I was streaming. And so that's how he started finding me. That's okay. Through may as well put it down. May as well write it down. That is my model artist Sensational. That is my model artist Sensational. He made me alive. He made me alive. I need to what's the word I'm looking for here? No, not you. Where is it? Thought it was open there. Where do I have it open? Nope, not there. Oh, okay, that's where it is. So, interesting problem to have there. Refresh. There we go. It's bug. 17's April Fools is making the font Comic Sans, but Comic Sans is a good dyslexic font, so you can just reach. I despise the. Also, like, hold on. So this is the slideshow of what I gave to, is a slightly altered version of the slideshow that I gave to Sensational. So if people are wondering how the inspiration for my model came about, that's like what I told my artist. And hello, Bug. Bug plays lots of retro. I believe today you were playing. Today was the plan to play Far Cry 3. because Far Cry 3 fits into your retro aesthetic. Bug VT is trapped behind glass. She is trapped behind glass in 2006. She is not allowed to play the modern gaming. She is stuck inside 2006 in the 2006 jar. That is where Bug VT is. And yeah, I despise the very, very chill, calm phrasing here. I despise how the chat clients that we live with are really, really enamored with Arial and other really crappy, thin sans serif fonts that are very annoying to read for any length of time. I miss AOL Instant Messenger and my ability to read things in Courier and Georgia and Garamond. Like, please give me some control over these fonts. I might take another stab at trying to get myself into trying to get myself a wrapper of some kind for some sort of wrapper of some kind for, what should we call it? For Discord. I mean, there's a reason. Courier New has advantages. Courier New has advantage. I used Courier New a lot when I was younger. And it has a lot of advantages. So fixed with fonts it's fixed with, and fixed with fonts have advantages. But there are reasons not to use fixed width fonts, right? But I think that may... All right. But I think I am out of juice. I'm going to be honest. I think I am out of juice. I think I'm out of juice. I'm just simply trying to decide on who to raid. Thank you all for being here. Again, I will be taking more suggestions in my Discord. There's a suggestions channel on my Discord. I am trying to decide on a raid target. Yes, I am trying to decide on a raid target. Also, Bug, please feel better soon. I love Bug. Bug is very nice. Bug is very smart. Bug does very cool streams, and I like hanging out with her. So, yes, please feel better. So let me look around. Peony is doing art. Clonk is live right now. I think Charlotte is wrapping up. I think Charlotte is wrapping up. Yeah, I hate doing gaslighting day. Grimmy is reading Kaiji. Sora is doing something really weird. DK is doing Monster Hunter Wilds. I am kind of inclined to raid DK just because it's so... He raids... The amount of times... The raid debt between me and DK Diamantes is ridiculous. Is absolutely ridiculous. He has raided me so many dozens of more times than I have raided him. So... Let's do this my usual way. Let's just do it my usual way. Oh, yes, thank you all for being here. This was a really lovely time. I have been trying to take it a little bit easier this week compared to previous weeks because I really made myself pretty exhausted over subathon, and this did take a little bit more out of me than a standard chatting stream. This was somewhat more demanding than is typical for me. Yeah, it's, well, and it's, you know, I have nothing going on but whatever is inside my head. So it does demand a little bit more out of me. So that was that's kind of where I was looking at right now, was that kind of does kind of demand quite a bit more out of my thought process, and I do wonder if I would be better served by incorporating ASMR into other content. So that's poll ended. That poll was very strange. Okay, we're going to raid Grimmy. We're going to raid my icon, Grimmy. Please, everyone, be nice to her. Everyone be nice to her. Let's figure out a raid message. I say my Oshi is Callie Calico. My Oshi is Callie Calico. I love Callie so much, but I am nothing like Callie. I'm not trying to be like Callie. Hello, Christine. Yes, I'm sorry. I am sorry. I have this has taken quite a bit out of me, so I am what should we use for the raid message? So Geezer raid, but what should we use for ours? Should we use sock? Should we use Should we use dance? Should we use tank? Should we use pop? What do people think? What do people think? I'm indecisive. My brain has gotten substantially more indecisive over the course of this. You think sock? Okay. Okay. So everybody have a lovely time. Everybody have a lovely time. Grimmy is one of my favorites. Please don't embarrass me too much in front of her. And I will probably be on my Discord later tonight. I don't know, actually. I don't know. I think I'm going to raid DK. I think I'm going to raid DK, actually. I think I'm going to raid DK. No, we're going to raid Grimmy. I'm so indecisive. I'm so indecisive. I'm so indecisive. All right. Everybody have a lovely evening. Have a good night. Goodbye. Yeah, I do. I'm so indecisive. Everybody have a good night.